Hi, who wants cake?
Hey, I'm good. I'm full. It's present time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be sharing with you this adorable Final Fantasy VII cake that my daughter requested for her 18th birthday. It was Halloween weekend, so we did have a Halloween party, although her cake was Final Fantasy VII. We had a wonderful time and some costume contests as well, so make sure you stick around till the end to see who won. And let's make a Final Fantasy VII cake. So we're going to start here with some of the fondant decor. And of course, my daughter brought me this picture of a cake, so I definitely cannot take credit for this adorable cake. It was originally made by someone else. I did change it up a little bit, but when my daughter brought me this picture and said, I want this cake, of course I knew nothing about Final Fantasy VII. So I did a little research and just did find out about the items and characters that I was going to be putting on the cake. So here I'm actually making the Buster sword, and this belongs to the main character, Cloud Strife, and this is his sword in the game. So here I'm just using some of my silver fondant along with some brown fondant to make the blade and the handle of the sword. And just I'm using a few other little pieces of the same fondant just to give it those characteristics of course, of the sword in the game. So, and I'm going to kind of make some lines on the sword as well, and just to give it that cracking look that it has in the game. And I will just take a black edible food marker and trace those lines, you know, just to bring out the color in the lines and finish the look of the sword. Now here I'm just taking some of my white fondant and I am actually coloring it brown, and I am going to just color this real well, and I want it to be kind of a deep brown, but I'm not mixing it quite all the way because I do like to have the look, the lines in it, because it gives it more of a kind of realistic wood look. So I'm just rolling it out here, and I am going to be using this to cut those wood-like pieces that are going to be going all around the cake. And now I'm just going to cut them up into various sizes because I want different size pieces of wood on this cake. And here I'm rolling out some green fondant, and I have a small flower cutter, and I am going to be cutting out some green flowers to go around the cake. And I'm also going to be cutting out some yellow flowers as well, which you'll see in just a minute. I'll be rolling out some yellow fondant, and I have the same flower cutter just in a little smaller size to make the smaller yellow flowers with. And we're going to cut out a few of these, and then we're going to start on our other characters. Here I'm rolling out some of my green fondant, and this is going to be for another character that's going on the cake. This is actually for the Cactus, who is an enemy in the game that apparently you can fight. So for this, I'm just rolling out the various pieces to put the body together. Of course, he is a cactus. So I'm just putting the limbs on with just like a half a toothpick to stick them in and secure them into the sides, and giving him that running shape that you often see in the game. Now, and I'm going to take my fondant tool and just create those lines in the body of the cactus. This was actually just such a cute little character to make. But I'm going to finish up this little character and then move on to the next one. For this next character, I'm going to take a little bit of red fondant to start with and make two little balls that I will need for him. And this character is actually called a Moogle, and he's sort of like the mascot of the game, and he is probably the most adorable character I've seen. Now, so for his body, I'm just rolling out a pretty thick cone-shaped piece of white fondant, and I've rolled out a pretty large piece into a ball for his head. And here I'm just doing the limbs, and of course I'm going to be securing the limbs on with a small toothpick again, and the legs I'll be able to just secure with some water because they'll actually sit at the bottom of him. And one of the red balls that I made earlier is actually for his nose, and the other red ball is a red ball that kind of hovers over the top of his head. So that I just utilized some floral wire to put that in and keep it elevated above him. And here I'm just using my edible marker to create his eyes. And then I'll just roll 2 little tiny pieces with the white fondant to create his little ears. And then he will be complete. And of course we will need some letters for the front of the cake. So here I'm just brushing my silicone mold, letter mold, with some cornstarch just to make this process a little easier. And I am putting some white fondant into the letters that I need here. Now, as you can see, I've kind of just put a little bit of fondant in and just mash it in there as well as I can, and just take a knife and just take off that excess on the back. Now, once I get all the letters that I need in here, since this is a really small mold, I like to pop it into the freezer for a few minutes, actually probably a good 15 minutes or so. I'll pop it into the freezer to let that fondant really firm up, and this makes the process much easier when it comes to getting the letters out of the mold without stretching them and tearing them. And now for our cake. So my daughter has requested a white velvet cake. So here I have baked 3 layers of white velvet, and I have made an American buttercream, and I have just colored the buttercream with a light blue with a touch of purple, just to give it kind of a stone, a kind of grayish stone look that we were going for the base of the cake. So here I'm just stacking and filling with that buttercream, and I'm going to give it a nice crumb coat, and then we'll pop it in the fridge to chill for a few minutes and get ready for that final coat. So our cake is now chilled, and we're going to get this final coat on. So I'm just going to put a pretty generous layer here around the sides. I actually put a pretty generous layer on the top when I crumb coated it, so I really don't need to mess with that too much. But I'm just going to smooth this final coat out, just get it as smooth as I can. And then we're going to chill it for a couple minutes and start putting the decorations on. Now we are ready for the best part, the decorating. So I'm just using my fondant tool here to put some lines in these little wood planks that are going to be going on the cake. So, and I am going to start with the Moogle on the top, and then add some of my wood planks around in just no particular order, and then some of the flowers as well. And I am going to put the little cactus on the side of the cake. And for most of this stuff, the flowers and things like that, I'm just, adhering it with a little water. That's really all you need with the fondant. And now the little wood plank, the larger wood plank that's going on the front, that's where I'm putting the letters that I made earlier. And this is just the screen that you get when you die in the game. Of course, new game, continue. It gives you the option to continue. So I'm putting this together here, of course, again with a little bit of water, and I'm going to adhere that to the front of the cake to complete our look there. And then I will be placing some of these wood plank pieces around the sides of the cake and on the cake board as well. And when I'm placing pieces on the cake board, generally I like to use a little bit of shortening. I'll just spread that onto the cake board, whether it be fondant pieces, letters, or whatever the case may be. I just find that this helps the pieces adhere to the cake board well without moving around, but it's also more forgiving than water, so if you actually need to slide something or move it around, you can do that very easily. So we'll get the rest of these pieces put on, and of course I will save the Buster sword for placement when I take the cake out to display it, just because I want to let it harden up as much as possible so that it will stand well on the cake when I put it on there. So our Final Fantasy VII cake is complete. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. I had so much fun making this cake and learning about this game. And if you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notifications bell so you'll be notified when I upload more cakes in the future. Don't forget to stick around for the costume contest winners. Okay, just go over there so they can hear you in there too.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Is that a Starbucks cake pop I smell?
Okay, so which one do you do first? Cutest costume?
Sure.
Cutest costume goes to
Mia! Yay!
Good job.
Mia.
You get a card!
Okay, what's the next category?
What should we do? Original?
Most original costume goes to...
So I didn't really know how to rate this. So it's going to be River because she made all three of those costumes. Yep. So River!
I got 2-1. I think I know. Is the next one scariest?
Yeah.
I think I know who that's going to.
Most original.
I think I-
Okay, got it? Okay.
Scariest,
Scariest
costume.
Scariest costume goes to...
Sissy! Because that was terrifying.
Oh my god. Yeah, it was.
Sweet. Look who on me.
Okay, and overall best costume goes to...
So really, it was really hard to decide between the two. But hi, Katie! I love your costume so much.
Thank you. I ain't got to say a speech.
It's your treasure! Yay!
Who's the other person you were going to choose?
It was either gonna be the Sanderson sisters or Katie.
Sisters?
We lost out to Katie.
Yeah.